Well, good morning. It's Freedom Friday. I hope you've had a great week. Y'all, let's get into today. I got some stuff I want to talk about. If you saw my banner already, I already said real talk. Trigger warning, you might not want to hear all of this, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So we're going to start with the first trigger is, do you know what my favorite holiday is? My birthday. Yeah, I don't have to wait for you to answer. You already know it's my favorite holiday. And I'm triggered because the place I thought I was going came up with a review that it's not a good place to go. Okay, I'm gonna have to change my birthday plans. But let me ask you, I'm so glad that you joined. Good morning, Mama J. What is your favorite holiday? Y'all, I got some stuff I want to talk about today, but I'm just curious. What's your favorite holiday? We are going to talk today about the holiday that's coming. So, as promised, I told you that I was going to start a series called Grief and Grace. So, today's lesson will be hard lesson, soft grace. I'm going to talk about some things that aren't the easiest things to talk about, but they're necessary. Mother's Day is around the corner, and I just have to be 100 with you. Not my favorite holiday. Has not been my favorite holiday growing up, and only became a holiday that I liked because of my children. And they make it an amazing holiday. But because of my baggage, y'all, if I can just be 100 today, hey, Davita, because of my baggage, it made Mother's Day a tough day. And, you know, everybody doesn't celebrate the same. Everybody doesn't love every holiday. But Mother's Day has always been a day that has been particularly prickly for my heart. And if you know my story, then you probably already know why. But I'm going to talk today. I'm going to share with you 6 lessons, hard lessons, soft grace, because I lost my mother in 2005. Man, that day is etched in my mind because truly I could not even mentally comprehend what was happening that day, even though my brain and my heart were seeing the same thing. They couldn't even connect because it was so traumatic for me to lose her, because I loved her dearly. Hey, Jackie, loved her crazy. But the deal is, I didn't always love her. In fact, I hated her. The truth of the matter is, I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't respect her. I just didn't have it, right? But here's the thing about today. I'm going to talk to you about some lessons that you may be saying, well, my mother and I have a great relationship. That's good. But these lessons can help you in any relationship, regardless of the occasion. It doesn't have to be a holiday. It doesn't have to be a mother-daughter relationship. They're just lessons about our personal and interpersonal interactions with people that I'm just hoping they're going to be able to help you. I believe that if you use them, they can, if you need them. So I'm going to get into that. I lost her in 2005. My godmother passed 2012. And then my mama that raised me, she passed 2013. Those dates are they're hard for me because these were women that meant a lot to me. But I have to be honest about the relationships that we had so I can share this with you. So if y'all can hang in there, I'm going to share with you 6 hard lessons, soft grace. Now, unlike most people, you know, we always say you only get one mom. Now, the truth of the matter is childbirth is the closest you come to dying. And there's only going to be, that experience is only one woman. She's going to practically lay down her life so that you can be here. You only get one. But God gave me 3 mothers, mother figures, mothers that would mother me from different areas at different times in my life. And I feel extremely blessed that God did that. I didn't quite understand why he did it the way he did it until I got older. But it's important to talk about those things. Y'all, and when I say childbirth ain't no joke, man, I had 4 kids, 2 of them over 8 pounds, 1 of them on the verge. Y'all, I'm no thin mint, but I wasn't sure I was built for that. Yeah, it was crazy. But let's talk about it. So all of these mothers, excuse me, have left, and it has pricked my heart and caused me some things. Hold on, y'all. Oh, I'm struggling. We are in a rainy period right now, and it is killing my allergies even worse than usual. So let's talk about it. I'm going to be transparent about these relationships, and I'm hoping that in doing so, it will help. I have some trauma, some feelings of abandonment that I felt about Mother's Day, even as a kid. Though I didn't have the words, hey, Chi-Town, though I didn't have the words and I didn't understand how to articulate them, I understood the feelings. Let's put a pin right there and say young people can feel, young girls can feel. We know when you are saying things that are painful, we may not be able to express it, but we have feelings. And what happens is that little girl grows up into a big girl who is still trying to figure out how to maneuver the trauma and the drama and all the stuff that happened. Now, I'm not saying that about your family. I'm just saying this is what I live, so I'm going to talk about it. So I'm big on celebrating Mother's Day because I love my little people. I'm crazy about them. I love all of my godchildren. My children and my godchildren, they make Mother's Day lovable for me, and it didn't used to be. So I was thinking about the lessons that I learned from my mothers. And again, I think these are good lessons and can help us in any relationship, any season of our lives. I think if you need it, apply it, use it, I think it'll work. So I'm going to start with my birth mother. Let me start by saying that she, like many of us, had some challenges. Okay. And I will go to battle about her. Period. We'll go to war about her. That one, I don't play about her. So I make sure that people understand up front when we start talking. I can say what I want to say because I live the experiences, but I'm going to need you to tread lightly and watch your mouth. All right. So she and I had a very different and a very difficult relationship because at 2 months old, I was taken from her. And as far as I knew, there was not a fight to get me back. So I ended up somewhere else. And because I ended up somewhere else, some other things happened. And it caused me to really not care for her. I didn't care for her lifestyle. I didn't care for what she did. I was the only girl. And I felt like, how is it that you have all these boys that you keep and you don't take care of your daughter, can't respect you? Even as a young girl, I knew that wasn't right. And so it made me feel some kind of way. So I grew up with these feelings about her. I didn't like it when people said things like, oh, she looked just like her mama. Oh, look at her walking like her mama. Oh, look at her sounding like her mama. It would hurt my feelings because unfortunately, I didn't love her. I didn't have love for her. But what I also remember is I was crazy intrigued by her, right? Because as a little girl, I wanted to know my mama. I just wanted to. Hey, Karan. So let me get into this lesson right here. I felt like a throwaway, but here's the lesson I learned from our relationship. And let me tell you, our relationship got better. But let me tell you, I had to learn these 2 things so that I could do my part. And they were hard, y'all. I'm not telling y'all this because it just Shazam, it happened. I cried a whole bunch of times. I felt thrown away. I felt abandoned. I felt neglected. I felt unloved. I felt unseen. I felt ugly. I felt like there was no point in even being here. Can I just be 100 with you about it? Okay. Here's the lesson that I had to learn in interacting with her. Yes, I knew her past. I didn't know it all. I knew some things, but I didn't know it all. But what I knew was enough to make me feel some kind of way, right? Have you ever been around people that you just felt some kind of way? You didn't have all the details, but what you knew was enough to make you turn up your nose or turn your back? Not you, just me? Okay, that's fine. Here's that lesson. You cannot hold people to a standard that you cannot forgive. I didn't care for that lesson at all because I had a standard. And until she did better on those things, I'm not trying to hear you. I don't care what you say. But here's the thing. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have standards. I have them. But the problem was my standards were holding me hostage. They weren't holding her hostage. I thought they were. I thought I was drawing a line in the sand and saying to her, if you don't do X, Y, Z, then I don't have any use for you. But I was drawing the line and I was the one being held out. I was shutting myself out because I had set a standard that I knew I wasn't getting ready to forgive. I wasn't getting ready to forgive there. Baby, I had already made up in my mind. I can't stand you. I don't need you. I don't want you. So I don't care what you do. Because I had already built that wall, I had already put that standard there. Nothing she did was ever going to be good enough. Y'all, all I'm saying is you have to give people room to grow. If you aren't going to give them room to grow, then give them room to go. It's not fair to put a standard on a person that you know you have no intentions of forgiving, or you know that you don't have the capacity yet. You don't have the willingness yet to forgive them. So if you don't have the willingness, if nothing in you is willing to let them try to be better or do better, even if it's the tiniest gesture, if you're going to turn your back on every bit of that, then you're holding yourself hostage to your emotions. You're holding yourself hostage to your pain. You're not going to be able to forgive. And if you can't forgive, you can't heal. I had to decide, okay, can I forgive her? And then I had to say, am I willing to? So if she just picked up the phone that day and said, hey, darling. Now, y'all, on the inside, she would melt me like a puddle. But on the outside, I was like, hey, yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't allowing the inside to really be penetrated. I wasn't allowing my heart to really take in what I knew I needed and wanted because I had held her to a standard I could not forgive. Number 2, she was amazing and she gave me great joy, right? But that joy came at a price. I had to be willing to let go of some things or to accept some things as my reality. Not saying I was not asking her to be accountable. Hey, Myasia. Oh, Myasia, you and I talked about this. I thought of you when I wrote this down. Not because I wasn't asking her to be accountable for her actions or her decisions, but because I was asking her for something she didn't have. Let me explain that. One day, while I was in my pain and God and I was going back and forth about, is this going to be a relationship? Am I going to ever feel for her what I want for her? And am I ever going to get it in return? Because she's my mother. I mean, I wanted it. I needed it. But when she started making herself available, I had to make a decision. Am I going to take that? And then when I take it, am I going to take it and use it against her? Am I going to say to her, yeah, but you never did this for me and you never did that? We understood that. We laid that groundwork. We knew it. But here's the thing. God told me one day, this would help me heal and help me deal with my anger. He said, stop asking people to give you what they don't have. I said, God, that don't make no sense. Why would I be asking for it if they didn't have it? He said, exactly. Let me put it to you like this. You want her to have blue eyes, but they're brown. She's never going to have blue eyes. If she does, it's going to be contacts, which means it's not real. She can only give you the real her as she is, as she's on her journey of healing from her own trauma, from her own problems, from her own mistakes, from her own pain, from her own lack, from her own rejection, from her own abandonment. Listen, I can go on and on. But the bottom line was, I was asking her, hey, Yibby, I was asking her to give me something she just didn't have. I was asking her to be somebody else. So now the question is, do I want her or do I want somebody else? Have you ever felt like people were asking you for something you just didn't have? For whatever reason. Now, maybe, Livy, maybe you're going to have it. Maybe there's going to be a day where healing will come for you, and then that compassion, those pieces. I wanted my mother to give me motherly stuff, right? But the truth of the matter was, she lost her mother at a young age. She didn't have the motherly stuff. But here I was pulling and holding her hostage because I wanted blue eyes. I wanted her to have it, and I wanted her to produce it for me. Y'all, you know how I got it for my kids? Because she didn't have it. The very thing that she did not have to give me taught me what I wanted my children to have, and for me to start to develop it. Listen, because of what she didn't have, my kids have what they have in me. She taught me what not to do. That's all she could do at that time. That was a valuable lesson, and it changed our relationship, y'all. Let me tell you what that did for us. It taught me to cherish and treasure Livy, every piece of her that she could give me. All the pieces, the good, the bad, and the ugly that she could give me. Because see, the bad taught me lessons. The ugly taught me lessons. The good taught me lessons. But all of it was a part of who she really was and her experiences. She couldn't go back and change them. And no doubt, if she could, maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't. But listen, I began to love the whole her. All of her. Baby, when folks told me the stories about how she shut down a whole women's correctional facility because she went toe-to-toe with a guard, I love it. I ain't mad at her. She brought the noise. She wasn't for your foolery. She didn't let people take advantage of her. She didn't let people come for her. She said what she meant what she said, stood by it, stood on it. Love every bit of it. And then I began to realize that some of the things that I just didn't care for to begin with were already a part of who I was. So I didn't like them in her because I didn't like them in me. Okay, y'all, those two things right there changed the dynamic of our relationship. Baby, Marie was not to be played with. Billy, listen, Billy was not to be played with. Walterine, I'm about to talk to y'all about these ladies. They were not to be played with. The same things. She was either, Mama J, either 16 or 14. She was somewhere in that area. Let me tell you, these lessons that I learned from Billy, I learned from Marie. Those same things, Livy, is I learned that there were some things Marie just couldn't give me. She couldn't give them to me. And I had to stop saying, you just don't want to, because I don't know if it was because she didn't want to at the time, but I realized later some things she just didn't have possession of. All right, let me keep going. Let's talk about, I'm trying to give y'all hard lessons, soft grace. I'm dealing with my grief this weekend. This is how I'm dealing with it. A couple things that Marie. Now, let me tell y'all, for those of you who don't know, Marie is who raised me. That's mama to me. Always was, always will be. I always called her mama because from the time I was 2 months old, That's who I lived with. That's mama for me. Now I call Billy mother. Okay, that was my mother, or I may refer to her as my birth mother. But that was the lady in my life. Okay, but let's some things you just can't give. Listen. Wait, I saw a comment I want to go back to. I want to make sure. Hold someone accountable for the things they aren't capable of. Exactly. Until they become capable. Because people can change if we give them room to change. Let me not go down that road. Let me get to these other Marie lessons. Now, Marie taught me what you see isn't always what it is. That was big for me as I got older. Now, I keep saying as I got older, y'all, because these lessons came with maturity. These lessons came with experiences, right? Now, you have the benefit of hearing them today, but 54, I spent some years learning, hurting, going through, healing, right? And I still have some pains, y'all. It's not all gone, but I'm better. So much better. I hear you, Marvin Sapp. Okay. I thought for years that Marie just didn't care for me. If I can be brutally honest with you, I actually thought she hated me. I actually thought that some of the things that happened when I was younger was because she just couldn't stand my black tail. I thought it was because she got stuck with a kid she never wanted to raise. I thought it was because people didn't keep the promises they made to her when she took me on. I thought it was because of me. I thought it was because she didn't care for my mother. I thought a lot of things, y'all. And when a child thinks certain things and adults don't give them the truth, children make it up on their own. And 9 times out of 10, it's a whole lot worse than what the truth is. But because I didn't have answers to my questions, I had to make up things, and I made them up to my detriment. I made them up and they caused me pain. And some of them, I made them up and I believed them because it was all I had. And so I moved accordingly. Yeah, I felt accordingly because that was all I had. But here's what I found out. I went to college, and that was a big deal all by itself because I didn't even know what the future was going to be like. You talking about a girl who ended up in the projects by the time she was in high school. You talking about a high school dropout who had to take care of a disabled parent. My mama, Marie, became disabled, and she became my responsibility at 13 years old. So I didn't know what college was going to be like, look like, do. But I had a professor who said to me, the stuff you talking about, that's not normal. And of course, in my feelings, excuse me, are you calling my mama not normal? She said, no, that's not what I'm saying. So she handed me a book. Y'all, the book was on mental illness. It turned out that my mother suffered from a mental illness from her teen years. So some of the things that happened to me was not what it looked like. It was not what I was seeing. So I had to learn to see her differently. I had to learn to unsee what I saw and see what I see. Baby, let me tell you, that opened up our relationship because the things that she was doing were no longer personal. Now, it got so bad, y'all, that I contemplated suicide. I did. I was 28 when I thought, that's enough of that. I don't care if she got a mental illness or not. I'm ghost, I'm gone, I'm out. So that was how bad the pain was. But as we started to grow together and get help for her, as she got help, let me read what I wrote down. I can just make more sense to you if I read. When I went to battle for her, I won the victory for us. Yeah, when I started trying to get her help, right? Then she and I got better because as she began to get better and God began to send us to the right doctors, got the right medicine, God put us on the right journey, our relationship became everything. The woman that I felt nothing but obligation for most of my life, I began to love. I began to want to spend time with her. I laughed and we had good times. And oh man, I would cook for her. And I'm going to see mama today. And she just became all that, y'all. But it was because I had to learn the lesson that what I thought I saw, That's not what it was. So maybe you need to look a little deeper if you're going through some grief and you need to give people some grace. Grief does not always apply, or does not only apply because a person has passed. Sometimes we grieve living relationships. Even though we're still talking to them every day, even though we're still interacting with them, even though we're still visiting them, we are absolutely grieving living relationships. We need to, Livy, adjust our lens. Okay, the fourth thing. People say, this is also with Marie, people say, well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Okay, well, that's only true if you learn how to use it to be stronger. So I have to change that and say what doesn't kill you doesn't mean it can't. Had to learn that lesson. Doesn't mean it cannot. It most certainly can kill you. So you've got to make a decision to survive. And the lesson in that is survival is intentional, not automatic. Y'all, I got only a few minutes. I got to get myself up out of her. Make the decision and then do the work. Let me say it again. Survival is intentional, not automatic. Woo, baby. That means you got to do some work. If you want the lessons to teach you something, you're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to go to class. Let me get to the last mother, and I'm going to go ahead and knock that out. That's my godmother. Her name is Walterine. I already told y'all that I lost her as well. She died the year before my mother. Y'all, broke me off in some places. But while I was struggling with those other two relationships, but at the same time rebuilding, did you know that you could do both? Yeah. Woo! What doesn't kill you, Kevin, shouldn't get a second chance to try. I know you right. Y'all, while I was struggling and rebuilding at the same time, my godmother helped me to put some things, some important lessons into play. So let me give you those two lessons. Number one, she taught me was no one is replaceable, right? I know that's a hard thing because you like, baby, I know Beyonce told us, I can have another you in a minute. Here's the deal. If the first one's raggedy, what I want a second one for? Let's stop that nonsense right now. But let me get serious with y'all. Here's the thing. When you start to replace people in your lives with other people, what you are doing is you are taking the new person's worth and attaching it to the old problem. Hear me out. You are causing their value to actually be devalued because it's contingent upon what you went through before. Nobody wants to be in that position. Nobody wants to come in and play second fiddle. Nobody wants to be constantly compared to your trauma. Nobody does. Here's the thing. You don't want to hold on to the old. That's absolutely fine. But accept this thing, that whoever you have interacted with, they are either a blessing or a lesson, and both have value. Both were necessary. Stop trying to replace old problems. Just let them be old problems. Leave it at that and start fresh and let the new person, the new whatever, have its place. She taught me that all of our relationships have their own place, their own value. I didn't have to say, well, my godmother, and then my mama would be like, I know you lying. And then Billy, she didn't even get to meet her. They all had their own place. One did not have to be contingent upon the other. Therefore, neither of them took the value of the other person. She taught me that old can just be old. Change can just be change. This can just be that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think I'll get with this because this is where it's at. Okay? She taught me that a person's value does not have to be connected to old wounds. I didn't realize that maybe subconsciously I was trying to replace the other two because of my pain, but I still wanted them. So I was really just making a problem in my own heart. I wasn't making a problem between them because I was very clear that I knew who they were in my life and I valued each and every one of them. The conflict was happening in me. It wasn't happening out there. And when I was honest with myself about the conflict that was happening in there, then I could get myself all the way together. And I want to thank her for it. Let me give you the last lesson that she taught me, y'all. And this one right here. This is the biggest lesson of all. It was a lesson of love, She taught me through her love that I was valuable. Karan, don't make me bring out the MC in me, because I got the music in me. She taught me I was valuable, y'all. Not because of my obligations, not because of the things that I did for people, not because of the way I treated people, not because of the way they treated me. I had value that stood independently, irregardless. And I love it when people say that word, because irregardless is really canceling out the regardless. Anyway, regardless of how people treated me or how they didn't treat me, whether they loved me well or whether they loved me poorly, I still had value. I still had value that stood on its own merit. My godmother showed me that she could love me regardless of my other relationships with my mothers, regardless of the feelings of hopelessness, abandonment. She didn't try to change me. She tried to love me better. When she did that, it gave me, Mama J, my value back. From a little girl, she made it make sense to me that, baby, I don't need anything from you to love you. What? Stop. So I don't have to set myself on fire so you can love me? Cut it out. So I don't have to change my hair, change my eyes, change everything about me so that I can have the value that society says I should have so people will love me? Stop. You mean to tell me, y'all, and wait for it. Let me go ahead and show you this right here. You mean to tell me, baby, that I, Delon Patrice, I am just the right me? What? Just as I am? Y'all, I'm celebrating Mother's Day this year by debuting my new book, Just the Right Me. That little girl in the picture, yeah, that's me. Chocolatey goodness all over the place, and inside and out goodness. Just the right me. Y'all, understand that whatever the relationships and interactions that you are dealing with, you're just the right you. Not when you lose weight, not when you learn more, not when you do this, not when you do that. Just the right you. Not when you get in the relationship, before the relationship, not when people love you before they love you. You're just the right you. And all transformation and changes that God wants to make, he's gonna make them. God's gonna do it. It's not going to be them. It's going to be God that does it. But God says, it's in the book, y'all. It's Psalm 139, 13 through 14. But 14 reads like this: I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. That's it. That's all. I need y'all to know that. I told you these lessons can help you anywhere, any relationship, any stage in your life. Y'all, hard lessons, but give people soft grace. And most importantly, give yourself soft grace. If you want to get your copy of Just the Right Me, you can meet me over at She Victory for an autographed copy. I'll get them mailed out first thing on Monday. I am going to give away a couple of these books because there's a little girl out there who is still dealing with her past trauma. She's still dealing with her past stuff, and she's already married and got kids. I'm going to give it away. But there's also a little girl who's sitting in class right now, and kids are looking at her funny because her hair don't look like theirs. Her clothes don't look like theirs. But she needs to know that she is just the right me. Just the right she. Who she is. Just the way God made her. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Freedom Friday. Y'all, you know what I say. Do me a solid. Help me share it. Help somebody understand that they are exactly who they are supposed to be, and that there are wonderful, wonderful things about them, and that they can learn some hard lessons from hard situations, but they can also have soft grace. Mother's Day isn't a great holiday for everybody. Help somebody get through it. Encourage them. Love them. Just like they are. I have enjoyed my time with y'all. I hope you've had a good time. Hey, Brittany Boo Boo. Listen, hey, William, I'm going to interact a little bit more today. I got to hit these screets right quick, but don't forget, it's Freedom Friday. You can be free if you choose to. See y'all later. I'm out.